With all eyes on the terror attacks in Paris, Nigeria continues to be ravaged by the Islamist terror group Boko Haram. Since the new year, local officials tell CNN there have been several violent attacks, including suicide bombings, at least one involving a girl as young as 10. Young boys have been kidnapped, and this latest attack is what I wanted to focus on. This deadly rampage 9 days ago through the village of Baga. As many as 2,000 people. Let me repeat, 2,000 people were reportedly shot and killed, burned alive, firebombed. Amnesty International describing this as Boko Haram's deadliest act. All of this as the 200-plus girls kidnapped last spring remain missing. And now many are asking, where is the global outrage? Where is the help? One Nigerian archbishop even made this public plea for the same kind of international support now flooding into Paris. The Nigerian government has been accused of not doing a thing to stop Boko Haram. So joining me now, counterterrorism expert David Gartenstein-Ross. David, I mean, when you read about this and you read about the bodies that are still in the bushes because it's still not safe enough to go get the bodies to bury them, and the people who swam to this island in Chad to try to survive, why is the world not talking about this more?
That's an excellent question. I mean, I think part of it is the fact that you just don't have news agencies there who are covering it. Part of it is that it's in Africa and people are much more attuned to major tragedies that occur in the West. Part of it may be some latent racism in terms of coverage. But I think all of those together are reasons why our focus has been away from this. But let me tell you, over the course of the past year, no jihadist group in the world other than ISIS has been more active than Boko Haram. They've killed thousands of people. They control a swath of territory in northeastern Nigeria and Borno State that's about the same size as what ISIS controls in the Middle East.
What is, Boko Haram? I've read it's Arabic for Western education, roughly paraphrasing, Western education is a sin. What is the motivation of this particular group?
Boko Haram has been around for a while. Its name is actually, it doesn't actually call itself Boko Haram. That's the name that's been given to it based on the rationale that you're talking about. It's actually in Hausa as opposed to Arabic. But the statement is based on their view that Western education is corrupting. They, like ISIS, like Al-Qaeda, have a Salafi jihadist interpretation of Islam that seeks to recreate what they consider to be the earliest form of practice. They also have a lot that is interwoven with Nigerian Islam specifically, and the history within Nigeria, including communal clashes between Muslims and Christians. This is one reason, in addition to strategic reasons, that over the course of the past few years, they've so frequently targeted church services, something which is upsetting to the Christian community and has caused intercommunal violence, something that is one of the goals behind those very specifically and mischievously targeted attacks.
So the obvious question, the frustrating question is, what is the Nigerian government doing to stop this, right? I've talked to correspondents of ours on the ground in Nigeria who, have multiple times said, well, the Nigerian government says they'll do X, Y, and Z. Clearly, none of that has happened. I have read that the president, Jonathan Goodluck, running for re-election recently, never even mentioned this massacre. Nothing's being done, is what I'm reading.
Yeah, nothing is an exaggeration, but only a bit of one. The Nigerian military has occasionally undertaken offenses in Borno State, but much less so than a government that's serious about counterinsurgency would do. Problems with the Nigerian military include relative ineffectiveness as well as corruption within the Nigerian state, in addition to basically malgovernance, something which creates much more of a space for Boko Haram to operate. That's one thing that really all these states that have had jihadist groups take over significant territory have in common, that the government is failing in some very real way and also lacks capacity, thus allowing other groups to come in and at least at first outcompete the government in terms of offering services, offering things to people. Look, a large part of that is going to be brutality as well. Boko Haram has released some of the most disgusting videos I've seen from any jihadist group, including showing amputations, showing stonings, with basically a crowd that was conscripted and is out there being forced to cheer for these very brutal spectacles.
2,000 people, again, echoing this Nigerian archbishop. Please give them the international support to tackle Boko Haram as France is receiving. David Gartenstein-Ross, thank you.